Allah'ın gazabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum. Kurtulsanız vicdan azabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Vicdan azabından kurtulsanız tarihin azabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Tarihin azabından kurtulsanız Allah'ın gazabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Birleşime 20 dakika ara veriyorum.
The scriptures clearly speak about a time of great hostility in the end times towards Israel. In fact, Bill Salus does this great thing on Psalm 83, and the psalm reads this way. It says, "With cunning they conspire against your people. They plot against those you cherish. Come, they say, let us destroy them as a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more." That's almost a literal statement that comes out of the Palestinian authorities and Hamas when they talk about Israel today. They want to wipe them off as a nation, and the name of Israel shall be no more. Funny story is when Arafat was still alive, he said, "We're going to push the Jews into the sea, and they'll have to drink seawater." Today, Israel, 80% of their water comes from the sea. They have the most advanced they have solar desalination plants that provide 80% of all their water needs now. They don't even have to rely upon rain or the Jordan River because they're advanced technology once again. And so I guess he was a prophet. They are literally drinking seawater. But nonetheless, I digress. But it goes on to say, with one mind they plot together, they form an alliance against you. It's against God. Zechariah in chapter 12 made this interesting statement about the end times once again. He says, "I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem." Now the word surrounding, literally that means, in the Hebrew word that's used there, means those who are immediately in their surrounding environment. It doesn't mean the whole world, but he says those nations which are around them, Jerusalem will become this thing that basically almost like an intoxicating drug that makes them stumble and fall. And he says that's what's happened. They'll come against God's people, but it'll only be to their repeated hurt and destruction. But, you know, Jerusalem has this interesting designation. When in 1948 they were made a nation, there was a following resolution in 1949 that the city of Jerusalem would be, the term they use in Latin would be corpus separatum. And what it simply means is that the city of Jerusalem would be an international city with an international regime. It would have special status that made it independent of any particular country. And so this was the UN's effort to try to solve the conflict that they knew would come with two states, Arab and Jewish, or now they say Palestinian and Jewish, both claiming that Jerusalem was their hereditary capital. And they say, well, the way we'll get around that is we'll just say it's an international city. It belongs to all the face of the world and all the people of the world. But this idea that Jerusalem is a special city on the planet with a unique status is tantalizing to me. And that's why even when we talk about current events, I always try to encourage people, read the news or listen to news reports with an eye to biblical prophecy, because the Bible is telling you in advance what the news stories are going to be. And that's why it just really struck me when David Friedman was chosen to be our next ambassador to Israel. If you know anything about David Friedman, you realize this guy is, he's not one of these ambassadors that pretends that he's in the middle someplace. He is pro-Jewish in every simple way. In fact, he made this statement: "I intend to work tirelessly," he said, "to strengthen the unbreakable bond between our two countries," speaking the U.S. and Israel, "and advance the cause of peace within the region, and look forward to doing this from the U.S. Embassy in Israel's eternal capital, Jerusalem." So when you think about signs of the times, keep your eyes on Jerusalem and things that are developing in the Middle East with Israel.